And join us now in studio is Bob Cusack, editor-in-chief for The Hill. Bob, welcome back to the program. Thanks for being with us. Some Republicans are mentioning impeachment, at least one Republican. But Speaker Paul Ryan is urging caution. How big of a thing is impeachment? Do you think how realistic or plausible is that reality?
Well, I think it's real because a lot of independent pundits are talking about it, that if the memo does exist and this is what happened. Now, of course, the White House has pushed back on this, but they have been relatively quiet other than saying that the story from the New York Times was wrong. It could be obstruction of justice, and that's why more and more Democrats, and as you mentioned, one or two Republicans saying, well, we need to find out what's going on, but it could be grounds for impeachment if this is true. That's a big if. We need to, as Paul Ryan, I think, is safe ground saying, let's find out the facts and go from there.
Well, noting all of the controversy swirling around this, where does this leave the GOP agenda? Because they mentioned in Jason's piece about tax reform, but there's a lot of other important things. Obamacare, when it comes to immigration. How does this affect those other major issues?
Well, it's a big distraction. There's no doubt about it. I mean, the president and House Republicans had a big win recently when they finally got the health care bill through the House. But we're not really talking about policy, and these are things that Republicans, you talk to them privately, they're very exasperated with this White House, and they want Mitch McConnell, the majority leader in the Senate, he wants Trump on message. Stop tweeting. Let's talk about the agenda. So I do think that Republicans are going to try to move their agenda, but this is a big distraction.
At this point, does President Trump have friends or allies in Washington that can really help to move his agenda forward?
I mean, that's why Republicans, I mean, they have had their differences on Capitol Hill with Trump, on the campaign trail and as president, but they have a friend in the White House who's going to sign bills that they want to become law. But if that doesn't happen, then I'm going to see more Republicans start to break away from Trump.
So what do you think about the media's role in all of this? First off, President Trump says there's a media bias against him. Do you believe that? How bad of a media bias do you think, if there is one, is there against the president?
Yeah, listen, I think that a lot of the media doesn't like Trump. That is clear. Most political journalists are Democrats. Does that mean they're all biased? No. But is there some type of bias against Trump? Yes. But a lot of these wounds are self-inflicted, and that he needs to focus on policy. If he focused on policy, Neil Gorsuch, getting him on the Supreme Court, that was a good nomination for conservatives, and everybody was unified. He has to unify his party, and right now they are not.
Well, from a media perspective here, both of the bombshells, at least in terms of this controversy, are based on anonymous sources. Do you think it's legitimate to publish stories based on unnamed individuals?
I do. I think that the biggest political stories, whether it's Watergate, Monica Lewinsky's scandal, are from anonymous sources. Do I think there's too much use of anonymous sources? Yes, but anonymous sources are key in getting to the truth. But you have to figure out, when you're talking to a source, and you know this, is that you got to think, what's their motivation? Is that pure? And that's what journalists, that's the role of the media, and sometimes we do a pretty good job, and sometimes we don't.
And still a lot of questions left unanswered about this particular alleged memo. Bob Cusack, editor-in-chief for The Hill, thanks so much for talking with us.
Thank you.